Yeah, everyone, we are live now.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Good evening, and welcome to the panel discussion on innovation for sustainable lifestyle as part of the National Innovation Dialogue 2022. So, just a quick introduction on the National Innovation Dialogue. The UNDP in India works extensively on youth economic empowerment through various initiatives, in particular with respect to innovation and entrepreneurship. UNDP and the Atal Innovation Mission under the Niti Aayog have joined hands to strengthen the youth-led innovation and create an impactful social entrepreneurship ecosystem through the Youth CoLab India program. As part of the CoLab initiative, the National Innovation Dialogue 2022 is a series that is organized, held throughout the month, and with the primary focus on the theme of climate action and climate entrepreneurship. Through the dialogue, Youth CoLab India is trying to engage with sustainability enthusiasts, students, aspiring entrepreneurs, and innovators across various workshops, panel discussions, and creating an enabling environment in a national context. So we're here to discuss more about one of the most pertinent topics: how, as an individual, how, as a race, how, as a cultural change in our coming days, we can bring about innovation in our own livelihoods and lifestyles to bring about a larger movement of sustainability. So, a couple of questions that you know we keep asking ourselves, we keep pondering when we speak idealism. Often we have armchair intellectualism saying this is the cause that leads to this. You look around at the weather, you look around at the waste management or the poor waste management facilities. Then we keep talking and debating about these basic problems. But how much as an individual are we doing or contributing through our conscious actions to bring about a change in this? So how can a whole lifestyle change create a huge impact for the global scenario and the world we live in, for us as well as our next generation? So quick questions. How many of us are guilty of leaving the tap on? Simple morning thoughts that we have. We'll probably keep pondering something, and the tap will go on until somebody reminds us, and then we'll feel guilty about it later. How many of us, consciously take the bag to a shop instead of buying a new one or a plastic cover? I mean, sustainable and conscious living is not just a fad; it's a philosophy that aims to reduce personal and societal environmental impact. I remember one of the earlier points raised in the global, the Green Climate Entrepreneurs booth organized by the UNDP last year. One of the entrepreneurs mentioned this: sustainable tourism, and how much we spend on a room, what is our carbon footprint if we stay in a five-star hotel that does not have a sense of sustainability, versus a hotel that has a sustainability plan, versus a homestay. So as an individual, all these small decisions lead to a huge impact. Today, we have experts here from various walks of life who have successfully managed to amalgamate their philosophy of sustainability along with their work. So I would like to quickly introduce all our panelists, starting with Naina Uttam. Naina is a compassionate counseling psychologist and a therapist with a growing, diversified background of experience with adolescents and adults, dealing with a wide range of psychological vulnerabilities. She's vegan, actively practicing and spreading awareness about the importance of adapting a sustainable way. Uh, she works towards people in adapting a sustainable livelihood, and and also impressing upon the community how it is the need of the hour to make more conscious and intentional choices. So she's also an Instagram influencer on sustainability and has done extensive work on this field. So Naina, I think I just want to quickly start with the last point. Your work on Instagram, it shows that you try to follow a sustainable lifestyle and consume consciously. So, what nudged you to kind of make this shift? I mean, in your way of living, and how was it? A difference?
Right. Thank you so much, Ganesh, for the humble introduction. And hi, everyone who's present here. Thank you so much for inviting me. Coming to the question that you just posed, Ganesh, that what nudged me and why am I doing this? What was, that moment for me when I realized that I need to lead a more conscious life? I think I can date it back to, 2 years ago when I started understanding and realizing how when I was in my masters and I was all by myself, and I started understanding how the world works, and I started seeing the animal cruelty bit was something that drove me to start becoming a vegan or understanding vegan lifestyle, right? And then I just started out with by addressing my own hypocrisy that I can't even manage to cross a slaughterhouse because I get all the cringe that I can't even take in the smell that's there, and it's so gruesome to even watch that. But on the other end, I am consuming dairy. I've never been a non-vegetarian, but I have tried it once in a while, right? So that hypocrisy hit me, and I started contemplating that when I can't even see it, how can I consume it at the end of the day? Or even be ignorant about how animal cruelty is so prevalent all around us. So that was a turning point for me when I started becoming more conscious about what I am consuming as an individual and how it is impacting, or what kind of footprint I am leaving behind, carbon footprint am I leaving behind. And eventually, slowly and eventually, it started off with just consuming or understanding vegans as a diet, and then as a lifestyle. When I saw it, I realized that it's the most sustainable way to exist in today's day and age, right? And that is something that nudged me to become more conscious about my actions. Maybe try searching for sustainable alternatives, because at the end of the day we hear this so often that you know if it's just me who's trying to make a change, it really won't impact. Like, there are 7 billion people out there who are going about their life, who are just doing what they want to, so it really won't make a difference. But believe me, I have been very actively pursuing this lifestyle for 2 years now, and I have seen the ripple effects. So that was something that nudged me to start spreading awareness about it, talking more about it, not trying to impose it on anybody, but just putting things out there that people become aware. And I have gotten feedbacks from people who have been consuming uh, you know animal product for their entire life, and they have had absolutely no idea about veganism, and they said that it made me think twice. And I think that is more than enough for me to uh, be content with that. Okay, if even if you're thinking about what kind of ripple effect you're leaving of the decisions that you're making, then my job here is done. So I mean, that was like kind of a turning point for me. Veganism, I would give it to veganism for sure.
Thanks, Naina. I think that's a very emotional space that has led you to make this choice. And I think
Yeah.
you feel much more happy in the way you
Yeah.
consume
Yeah.
nowadays without
For
guilt.
sure.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll just come back to you. Now, I'd like to introduce the next panelist. But before that, I just missed out introducing myself. My name is Ganesh Gopal, and I'm the lead for entrepreneurship development at the International Cooperative Alliance, the Asia Pacific. It's an organization established in 1895 as the global umbrella body for cooperatives, and the Asia Pacific office was established in 1960. So I work for the region from New Delhi. So I'm here to moderate this session, and we have very experienced 4 illustrious panelists who have, as I mentioned earlier, intertwined their way of living as well as their work and creating an impact one individual at a time. So next, I'd like to introduce Madam Aruna Gali. Um, uh, Aruna is the managing partner of the Digital School. She has 26 years of experience in media and social development. She has created an online platform for children and youth to promote their content. She successfully promoted environment governance and waste management and other projects in educational institutions and committees. So, Madam Aruna, I'd like to start off by saying, we're very happy to have you here, and the experience that you bring with you, especially in the education sector and in this particular field of environment and waste management. We as individuals struggle so much about waste segregation and waste management, given the rise in our own consumption needs. Through your work, you have promoted a lot of environment and waste management practices and other action projects in educational institutions and also within communities. How can we localize waste management practices within our communities? And what are the little steps that we as individuals can take? I mean, I've also read about practices that communities have taken up formally, even in the recent days, like environmental cooperatives in the Netherlands. People from various walks of life who have been concerned about how waste management has been taking place in their localities, and also a lot of traditional practices. I think so. From your experience working in this area, could you please tell us what are the little steps that individuals at that level can take?
Yeah, thank you very much for that wonderful introduction, Ganesh ji. And Naina, thank you very much for that, insightful learnings you have shared with us. Thank you for that. Over the years, I have been into environment education and working with children and youth. So always one, constraint. For the past few decades, that is still remained as a constraint. Rather than finding solutions to the issue, our government and local bodies and all the people at individual level, as a community, we always are thinking managing our waste centrally. Personally, I don't encourage that. We need to find solutions to our own waste as an individual, as a responsible citizen. It is our duty to manage our own waste. So we need to focus on locally managed waste practices, waste management practices. Unless until we don't practice our waste within the communities, within the vicinities, we don't realize the pain, and we don't realize the
I don't.
okay. So once we understand the entire process of waste collection to segregation and transportation and managing it and composting or recycling it, so the unless until we are not involved in the entire process, we don't see personally, we just start ignoring it, and then we don't bother about at all. It is the government's duty or the local body's duty to take care of the waste. Yes, uh, we never bother, but at the same time we never look back where our waste is going, and our centralized uh, waste management facilities, how are they, whether the waste is really managed scientifically or it is just going into the dump sites, open dump yards, sometimes open burning. In India, most of the cases, 90% of the cases, we are open, we have only open dump yards and burning our waste. It's again a behavioral change. We need to address this issue at policy level, at grassroots level, and then practitioners level. Until unless we don't focus on these issues, we are going to find solutions to the issues. So once we adopt to localizing the waste management, then communities involved, then they take that responsibility, accountability of managing their waste, and children also bring in their solutions to the waste, and they actively involve children, youth, and communities. And we also create entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs who are going to address about waste, and then we can also generate employment opportunities and business opportunities to create more and more employment as well as livelihood opportunities for entire cycle of supply chain. So if we focus on this, we are definitely going to develop economically as well as sustainably. So we need to take care of our planet, prosperity, and people. So this is only possible when we start working, building the models of localizing waste management by involving community and entire, neighborhood. Then only it is possible. Yeah.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I think I will come back to you on that very point of community. And I think two very pertinent issues that you've raised. One, as an individual, do we know where our waste is going? Is it going out to a dump site? Is it adding to more pollution? Do we have a sustainable waste management system around us? So a lot of us have access to gated communities. A lot of us have access to the local bodies. But the mass of our country, the largest area of our country, does not have access to these systems. So decentralized waste management, I think, like ma'am said, is one of the biggest challenges that we have to address, and we need to figure out sustainable ways to decentralize waste management and how we can use that in our day-to-day livelihood as well. Next, I'd like to introduce Dr. Jiku Jose. Dr. Jiku Jose is a biotechnology entrepreneur who focuses on sustainable technologies and development in bioenergy and nutraceutical sectors. She heads Sire Science R&D and Publications, which is based out of Kochi in India. She is a research member of the Indian Institute of Sustainable Development, New Delhi, and also working as guest faculty to teach environmental studies and human rights in the St. Joseph's College of Communication, Changanasheri in Kerala. So, Dr. Jiku, I just want to, start with asking you, over the years, you have seen the change in consumer expectations. What are the changes and trends that you witnessed in terms of consumption of all these sustainable products and technologies? This is also coming from a perspective to understand, see, on one side, we're trying to push through a lifestyle, and on the other side, we need to understand how big is the market, or how we can create a market or a niche, how we can create more consciousness and awareness, and that probably will lead to more sustained consumer and behavioral change. So I think Dr. Jiku, could you give us your insights on this subject?
Yeah, very good evening, and thank you so much for inviting me for this panel discussion. And actually, as we know that over the past 40 to 50 years, if you are seeing, like from 1970 onwards, every 12 to 15 years, there is 1 billion population increase, and now it is like 8 billion, if you are seeing the statistics. And humans are the only species which is coming, who is coming along with the pollution, as ma'am was telling, waste management. And also we are irresponsible in managing our own waste. That is the main thing. And when we see this consumer trend, as you asked me, like when we can see like the 1970s and 1980s and all, we were thinking about the technology innovations for increasing our the comfort level of our lives actually. Then slowly, eventually, we came to know that we are losing our ecosystem and environment, and so we have to do something. And when we are making something and we are making our comfortable with AC and other technologies, and in another in other way, we are losing our ecosystem where we are living. So that time that changes happened, and the first it was a kind of environmental justice and or very well that was a kind of big history in our history. We can see that it's a kind of revolution that people were not understanding there is climate change until now. We couldn't convince people that there is climate change is happening. So now the consumer mind has changed, and there is awareness in their mind, like because we are feeling that maybe because of the flood happened in our area. If we are seeing Kerala and in the southern part of India, the flood happened, and also the pandemic time, and also all these things made us to understand that there should be some kind of shift happened. When we see this, the changes we are witnessing, the temperature change and all the, humidity change, everything we are experiencing. And so what had happened, we can very well see as manufacturers, and we could realize that when we are giving some product in eco-friendly manner, the people start to buy it, the people will be, they are more attracted towards this eco-friendly product. They are, more aware. Many people are still not aware, but still, there are lots of people who are much more interested in buying this kind of product. And also there are, and if you are seeing any of these industries like fashion industries or cosmetic industry or food industry, of course. So since we are in nutraceutical product development, and we know the trend is changing, as Naina was telling, vegan food style is coming up a lot. And if, according to Good Food Institute India, that they were telling it is nearly 63% of the people are shifting towards this. That is a vegan food style these days. It's because they are aware that animal cruelty has to be stopped and we have to take thing. So that kind of trend is there, one thing. And also we are more into, in the case of food products, we are more into select foods which are having, which can be cooked easily, or where we can reduce the consumption of energy in our house. Maybe because we are lazy, maybe because we do not have time, but anyway we are, and also that precise recipe when the products are having, it is very good actually. So we are not using much, more energy unwantedly. That's one thing. And there's many food products, many cosmetic products, everything is coming in eco-friendly packages. Apart from all these things, we can just see that if we are seeing the detergent, the quality. In 1960, Novozymes, they introduced this enzymatic detergent. It's a biotech area. Actually, after that, we know that the changes in the detergent quality is increasing. So that's biotechnology innovations, and now we don't have to use a lot of water. That is natural resource utilization is minimized because of this enzymatic detergent and all. I know lots of changes, and biodegradable plastics, and we are using another consumerism we can see in the kind of buying the trash bins for the cars and all. So that was not there earlier. So, but the people are interested to buy. That is, I should not throw anywhere like that. But still, also 8 billion people are there. Even if many people are changing to the good habit portions, we can see 4 billions are there still, really, continuing those habit of throwing waste and all everywhere. So, and in the fashion industry, coming to the fashion industry, and it was saying that last 2 years before the report was there, people are using that seasonal independent clothes. Okay, actually. So that if there is no winter clothes or summer clothes, anything. So we are using the trend is changed. Actually, we can use the cloth. We are trying to buy something which can be used anytime. And also cosmetic products also anytime using products. And also the volume that is for example this any detergent or any products, when they are buying, they started to buy in high volumes so that they can reduce this kind of small plastic bottles. So these all are there, which when we are considering this consumerism of this era, and that's changing, and that is changed, and that will be changed more, of course. Yes.
Thank you so much, Dr. Juku. I think very pertinent points that you've raised. One, the consumer is becoming more aware. There is a growing market. You've raised quite a few examples of all-weather products, ranging from garments to cosmetics, and the high volumes, even in the production process, that people are being more conscious about in terms of economies of scale. So thank you for outlining these consumer trends, ranging from garments to efficient and easy to cook food items. So next, I'd like to introduce the next panelist, Gayatri Chauhan. So Gayatri is the founder and CEO of Bus on Earth and the president of Gaia, the Earth Foundation. She is also a guest faculty at Center for Sustainable Development, Bangalore. And through CSD's close tie-ups with the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy and state nodal agencies, she is well networked among the policymakers and practitioners in this field in the country. So Gayatri, I'd like to just start off by saying, you run two organizations, both Gaia as well as Bus on Earth, and both the organizations facilitate innovations, and Gaia especially works on creating synergies between the planet and people via the power of media and technology, very powerful influencers and tools in today's age, today's connected age, especially with the rate of internet penetration within India. So how do you think young consumers can benefit from such ventures, and how do you feel these organizations can help them in nudging the youth towards an entire lifestyle of sustainability?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Ganesh. This was quite a elaborate panel. I mean, the topic that you have chosen, that is also very interesting, because sustainable lifestyle choices and the inclusion of youth in driving this mission forward is extremely important. And coming to the organizations that I have founded, one is Buzz on Earth, which is the purpose of Buzz on Earth was to mainstream sustainability. And Gaia the Earth Foundation was set up to take a step beyond sustainability towards regeneration, because we have actually crossed that threshold where no matter how much we sustain, we will not be able to limit. This is time we start repairing, and that is why even United Nations Environment Program has started this generation restoration. So restoration and regeneration is extremely important for this generation to understand that this is the next 1 decade of action, and that started from 2020. So very much focused with that objective, as well as aligning our efforts, which are both at Buzz on Earth side as well as Gaia the Earth Foundation. We created a joint venture, and that is called India Model United Nations. India, you can actually check the website as well, indiamun.org. And that is an initiative to unite India's youth for climate action. So the question that you asked, it is actually very pertinent, because the two organizations that we were running, we realized that youth has to forefront this, because we are not future proofed if we are not giving the power back to the hands of the youth. And that can happen only when we make them responsible. The idea of youth for a country like India shouldn't just be about going out for protests and taking marches out in the name of climate action. It has to be more towards action is the key word here. You have to really focus on doing something about it. You community, society, or XYZ. This is the time you start owning the problem and start coming up with solutions. And there is no dearth of brains in our country. We all know that the best CEOs of all the corporates are mostly Indians. And the kind of inventions that we have claimed, they are also not less in number. So it is just about having that mindset and grooming the next generation to solve for climate change. This is not a problem that cannot be solved. I know it is too late, but still we are at that threshold limit where if we are able to pass on the power in the hands of the youth, we can really hope to get some immediate as well as amazing solutions. Because the beauty of youth is this: they will not think in terms of limitations, they think in terms of possibilities. As we grow up, we come across many ideas and suggestions that don't work, while for them it is all about what can work and what will work. So according to me, that is the biggest investment that we as an individual or an institution or a nation can really do. And this is absolutely worthwhile for the climate action, which is the biggest cause to be addressed at the moment.
Thank you so much, Gayatri. I think that gives a very overarching perspective on how youth should be the pallbearers of how our change should start. It's a process of creative destruction, probably, because we are probably destroying whatever we've been looking at till date, cheap sources of plastic, cheap mass manufactured things, which probably last for hundreds of years and make a very negative impact on our environment. And secondly, how youth should be driving this for another reason, where the impact is going to be long lasting. The intergenerational equity is something that needs to be addressed, because only if they start at this point, the coming generation will even have a planet which is livable. So I think I'd like to go on to the next question. We addressed the question of youth just now, and coming back to the the specific point about communities raised by Madam Aruna, I'd like to ask you the follow-up question on that. What are the challenges that you're faced in localizing the waste management education? And also, when you're introducing such systems in small communities or local areas or even educational institutions, what is the challenge that you faced?
Yeah, actually, when we are developing projects or otherwise planning something for the community, we are not involving the community in the entire process of the planning. So, what is priority to them? We never realize what is priority as we are putting it forward and then making projects around it and going into the communities, and absolutely those projects are a failure. And yeah, initially it was a problem because communities have their own behavioral aspects, mindset, and they have been practicing waste in their particular manner for the past few decades. I mean, just that syndrome, not in my neighborhood syndrome. It is, yes, waste is, I am taking out waste from my house and throwing it next door or on the road or whatever. So when we promoted this in 2004, 5 and 6 in Hyderabad, so there within Kukatpalli municipality, then municipality, after that it became a what you call Greater Hyderabad Municipal Corporation. Within those limits it has come. So in those days, it was a great effort we all put as a team. So to convince people, that is one thing, to change their behavior. At the same time, what if people are involving themselves, always 40% are there to readily adopt. Those are the first comers who adopt new technologies and new behaviors. They are always there, they are doing it. They are segregating waste at source level, and few of them are composting. We made them how to compost at household level using different kinds of bins or otherwise a small pit in their houses. Wherever there is a small ground, they are doing that with soil and other things. I mean, whatever available there, they are doing composting and all. But majority of the people felt that it is highly difficult for us to adopt. Why should we involve in the entire process of segregation? It is not our responsibility. It is the responsibility of the local body. So then the other question is, when people are composting, segregating their waste, the waste pickers come and collect it in front of them, and then they put it into the same vehicle, mixing all the segregated and non-segregated waste. So this was a major issue, and then we raised we took it to the authorities, local authorities, commissioner and other decision makers. They said, yes, we are going to do that. But till now, maybe there are one or two cases where two bins or otherwise vehicle is coming with two different parts in it, and one is for segregated waste, organic matter, and the other is for inorganic. But still we need to do a lot. One is behavioral change we need to address. At the same time, wherever people are doing, encourage them and involve them to motivate others within that community, so that they are going to change. That is one thing. And make people responsible and accountable in the entire process of waste management. Once they realize that how waste is spoiling our health, environment, and other public health system, and the health of the waste collectors and our own health. So how it is affecting, if we educate communities, at the same time let us take them to the what you call waste management locations. It could be dump yards, STPs. If you take them to these places, whether it could be community, parents, children, youth, then they realized it's a grave mistake we are all making. They realize it, definitely they are going to address this. So that is one thing. In the process of school radio, we are involving children and youth to create their own content. It is their choice to take up the program topic, and here children and youth come up with programs in and around waste management, sustainable consumption, and what you call water sanitation issues, and gender, all these and environmental cleanliness, and health, how is health is getting impacted by the practices we do at home. If we don't segregate waste, how our health is going to be impacted. At the same time, how our environment, our own planet is going to impact it. It is not the planet is going to be impacted. Ultimately, we human beings are going to be impacted. We need to, unless until we don't have a different planet, we need to live on this planet. It is our responsibility to protect it. So we think that we are saving the earth. For whose cause? Earth is going to remain as it is. It has, evolved a lot over the what you call billions of years, and then ours is short life. We need to understand it, and we need to take up that responsibility as a citizen. Unless until we don't take up the responsibility of practicing or changing our behavior and addressing it and participating within the community wherever we are living in, and encouraging our children and youth is very, very crucial and a key. They are the future generation. They are the decision makers. They are the leaders. Unless until we don't involve them in the entire process of governance or otherwise development, there is no development is going to take place. Since ages or otherwise since decades we are doing the same thing. We are not at all taking action. Now it is the time for us to involve children and youth. Let us listen to them and act. So we need two kinds of what you call, understand two kinds of development. We are only focusing currently on economic development and forgetting the sustainability and sustainable development. And we are simply forgetting the logic. We have a spectrum, whole spectrum. Economic development is a part of that entire spectrum of development. What about human development and ecological development and education, health, social health? These are all the part of that spectrum, but only we are focusing and encouraging economic development like anything, but not focusing on sustainable development. We need to understand this and we need to focus. I am not against development. Development must be a multifold and holistic development we should all have. And we need to, there are many examples, live examples within the community. If we sit with our grandparents, grandmothers, they narrate lots of stories. Don't they have the technology where they are inferior to us? They are much more superior than to our generation. They bothered always about the future of the planet, future of the people. They limited themselves to the needs rather than going for the greed, and then adopting all kinds of destructive measures to our own existence and all the life forms and planet. So I believe that we are do it or die. That's it. Absolutely. There is no option in front of us. Let us do it or die. That's it.
I think that is the most pragmatic and the most serious way that we should probably look at this issue as individuals today. The numbers are shocking, I think.
Yeah, yes, Ganesh, can I add one thing? Yes, sorry for that. Yeah, at the same time, we are, as Jikku said, we are 8 billion people in the world. As per World Bank statistics and recent reports, we have already crossed 2.2 billion waste generation per annum, and we are generating 0.73%. Each person is generating 0.73%, 73 kgs of carbon footprint. Who is going to take care of this? It is our responsibility, each individual's responsibility. Take up small steps. Whatever waste you are generating, I mean, list out the things. You till you woke up and you again go to bed, list out the activities we all do, and where we can cut short our what you call luxuries or otherwise, where are we destroying our planet Earth by our behavior, by our consumption practices and all. If we look into this, definitely we are going to adopt uh, what you call eco-friendly lifestyle and simple lifestyle. Simple lifestyle is not a what you call um, uh, it's not a shame, or it is not inferior to anything. A simple lifestyle is you are encouraging people to live in harmony with nature. So that is the primary responsibility to us, and then we have been following. I have many things
Right.
to share. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
I think you've stressed upon very important points. One, as a community. Second, how again this has to be part of our daily lifestyle. And thirdly, it's about the conviction. One of the questions that a participant had asked on the chat box was, we're hearing a lot about waste management and sustainability at every walk of life. But do we really have the conviction to translate all this awareness into actions? So how serious are we? Is it just us doing lip service and planting a tree once a year and saying, hey, I'm wearing a particular sustainable shirt or trouser once in a year? It's more than that. I mean, it has to be a sustained conscious effort and a choice, and it is individual choice after all. So coming to the individual level here, I'd like to come back to Nana and ask her about, again, her personal journey. Do you think you have had to have a lot of major personal trade-offs when you shifted your entire lifestyle to a more environmentally conscious one? And secondly, are you able to easily find access to enough sustainability or cruelty-friendly substitutes for the products that we normally require? So these two questions, as a consumer, as an individual.
Sure, Ganesh. Thank you for posing that question. And I would really like to acknowledge what ma'am just spoke about. It was, it's very important to take responsibility, right? And it's very important to see what are we doing at an individual level more than anything. Because a lot of times, this thing is fed to us that we as individuals are not capable to bring about that change. We are too small a unit to bring about change. But again, it has a very domino and ripple effect when we look at the larger picture. So answering what question you just asked, that have I had to make very major trade-offs, leading a conscious and mindful and intentional lifestyle? Yes, of course. Like, there I have let go of a lot of things that I used to like a lot. I used to love cheese, I used to love yogurt, I used to love a lot of things that I had no clue have a consequence after I use it, right? So consuming dairy, or consuming or even using any sort of animal product, or using a lot of plastic without being conscious about it at all, right? So I would call it a very informed decision that I make now when I, look for what I need to incorporate in my lifestyle now. I'll at least think about alternatives. I'll try to search for alternatives. Like, is there a way that I, actively reduce the carbon footprint that I'm creating, right? So that is something that is some sort of trade-off, I would say, that I'm making, that I will not consume animal products or dairy, because contrary to a lot of popular belief, that is one of the most leading causes and significant contributor to climate change and all the greenhouse emissions that we are experiencing today, right? Like UN back in 2010, they very outrightly put this out there, that you know a vital shift is required towards a more plant-based lifestyle, because that is one way that we can actually contribute to sustainability, a sustainable development. Because a lot of it has to do with the kind of amount of acres of lands that are being used, the resources that are being used to farm animals, to farm or run dairy industries and all of that. But that is never brought to light because of a lot of greenwashing that is being done, right? We are made to believe, so many advertisements are like such that, beautiful pastures are shown where cows are grazing and they're happy. But that's such a false picture that is being painted, because the reality is gruesome. The reality is so gruesome that even if, you know I think twice before even putting a lot of things on my Instagram or social media, because I know people, they get like, you have to put trigger warnings. Imagine, it's that gruesome, but we are very easily being a part of that. We are consuming it just because we do not have to do the slaughtering bit, just because we do not have to do the part, do not have to be face to face with the part where there is so much of cruelty. And this is just the morality or ethical bit of it, maybe. Other than that, when we talk about sustainability, what is sustainability? It's existing and living in a manner or in a way that we serve ourselves in the present time, but we also create a world which is sustainable and livable for the coming generations as well. So I think Anna ma'am pointed this out, that it's like, if we are being ignorant to the fact that, we are literally depleting our earth's resources, and if it's serving us, then it's all good. Then we are being selfish. We are being selfish because we just want it to work out for us and not for the coming generations, right? So that is one aspect. And other aspect I would want to, just shed some light on, would be that the same thing that I mentioned, that there's a lot of propaganda that goes on around veganism, because it gets a lot of hate, that, it's very extreme of a thing to follow. And why I'm relating veganism with sustainability is because the research has proven, like, this is scientific facts that I'm talking about, that is one way to contribute the most to sustainability, right? That is one way that you can actually do your bit and bring about a change, right? And I'm not saying that you go all out there and just start practicing it, but it's like making conscious choices. That is something that we can all start doing to actually address what is going on. Because even in the most recent IPCC report, 2022, like, it's like a warning. It's like a warning that, things are literally going out of hand. And I can relate it to this recent movie that came, Don't Look Up, if you guys have watched that. I think it's actually what is happening. The reality is so scary that we'd rather live in denial and not do anything about it than actually take conscious measures and take responsibility of our actions. And taking responsibility of our actions does not mean that, you just become a saint or just give up on everything. That's not the idea. The idea is just trying your level best to do what you can do, like, your bit, doing your bit. And that can be anything. That can be, uh, taking care of your waste, like ma'am said, or, understanding, what are the ways in which you can reduce or make a little more conscious choice, maybe buying a lot of things in bulk, or buying from local farmers, and so on and so forth. So there are a lot of ways in which we can do that. But more than anything, I think the first step that we all as individuals, including myself, we need to do is become more aware at every step that what the reality is, and not be clouded by or not live in denial that nothing is happening. As long as it's not impacting me, it's not happening. Like, there are lands that are drowning because of the temperature change, the climate change that's happening. It's very real. We can't uh, believe that it's not happening. So I think taking charge, taking responsibility, and starting to become aware is something that helped me as an
Right.
individual to start pursuing this. And I know that I am also, it's a way, it's a journey. I've just started out. But I think becoming aware is something that we all need to do on an individual level to cater to such a huge thing that is climate change.
I think, thank you so much, Naina. It is an individual consciousness, and that makes a huge impact when we collectivize and start making conscious efforts to address both individual problems as well as waste management and such issues in the community. And at the individual level, as a consumer, like Naina mentioned, it is a gruesome fact out there. The way consumerism has led to unsustainable farming practices, dairy practices, a lot of health issues in the long run that we have all come to because of mass poultry farms and other issues that are catering to the consumer needs in the urban areas especially. So I think in this respect there are so many alternatives that scientists and research and development space has been looking at, ranging from plant-based meat to lab-made meat and so on. But still, that is a long way to go to.
Sure.
I mean, in terms of affordability, in terms of mass producing scale, we are still in the initial stages. So, in this respect, I want to come to Dr. Jiku. And ask about.
Ganesh, I'm so sorry to interrupt. I just want to, just quickly address this one thing that you just mentioned, that we do have a long way to go. And, considering the substitutes, when you talk about substitutes, right? So, like when we talk about creating a more conscious or leading a more conscious lifestyle, again, there's a very big myth that surrounds it that, you need to buy more sustainable stuff. That's not the idea of sustainability. It's like making the maximum use of what you already have. More than adding to it, it's like minimizing a lot of things and making the most of what you already have. So I just wanted to address this, that moving towards a sustainable lifestyle, moving towards a more conscious living, does not mean that you need to add more sustainable products or vegan products. These are just tags which have been commercialized to a next level altogether. But thanks to capitalism, I guess. But I think when we understand the core of it, it's minimizing, and it's making the most of what you already have. Veganism is not about adding more things or buying more things. It's just about reduction. It's reduction of meat, or it's reduction of dairy. So I just wanted to put that out. Sorry for the interruption.
No, thank you, Nana. I think that is a even more important point that you raised. So it is an individual choice, and that comes from not a non-pragmatist or a idealistic approach where you start off and give up midway. Rather, be conscious about how much you're consuming now and what is the practical level to which you can probably reduce. What are the aspects that you can change in terms of some people, it might be viable for them to move to a lifestyle where you cycle to work. For some people, it might not be. So it is for each individual how much seriously we take it and make it a part of our lifestyle. So I just want to come to this consumer space again, and how us looking at behavioral change is on one side, and the demand supply, is there a match? And secondly, is the product that we're looking at, the sustainability tagged product or whatever that we would want to move into, like most consumers, a very layman perspective, people would look at, okay, is this product that I'm going to use, is this made from sustainable processes, is this something that is polluting the environment? So one way looking at tags like this. So that is something that Nana already mentioned. So how much do we go look only for tags, and how much do we know about these products? That's the question on one side. And on the other hand, whatever is tagged and branded and labeled as sustainable, organic, there is a lot of mismatch between the actual products that are manufactured and said as organic and available in the market. So how do we look at this information mismatch? How do we look at the lack of awareness that people have? And the space that you're working in, which is biotechnology, it's not ventured into easily when it comes to leading an enterprise. So what were the barriers and challenges that you had to face in your entrepreneurial journey? So these two things I just want to ask Dr. Jiku. Jiku, I think you're still on mute.
Yes, thank you, Ganesh, for asking this question. And as in all entrepreneurial journey, this biotech entrepreneurial journey is also very tough. It is not that easy, but it is not impossible. So yeah, when we started up, I wanted to create whatever the tag, whatever the thing is. Our mission was to create something more, which is which is healing this carbon footprint more. So we are focusing in microalgae products, microalgae, which is 50% of the carbon dioxide can be fixed by this particular species, particular varieties. So this microalgae has enormous potential in many areas. So without sacrificing the plants and without sacrificing the other environmental the natural resources, we can utilize them. So that was our aim when we started up. So that is the aim which is making us to go ahead also. Anyway, so we are into different sectors. So using, we have 8 varieties of microalgae with a high potential. So our research team is working. So of course it is tough. It is not easy to come up with a product overnight. And it's like when you are asking me, because I started this journey from 2016 and I'm still we are trying to sustain. Okay. When it is, we know that entrepreneurial journey is one place. It is very beautiful, and you will be in the limelight, and other place we will be struggling kind of thing. And we have to find out other ways to sustain. Okay, it is not I'm not talking about the environment. So as an entity, for the pupils, for the people who are depending on our entity, we have to sustain, right? So for that, we have other products also. So whatever the products, it's not easy actually. It is not easy. So it is, we can very well see that everywhere. So the shift, okay, we haven't practiced this. We haven't practiced, okay. We especially our, when we grew up, so more we were relying on the plastic, more we were relying on the other kind of, easygoing factors. So it is not easy for us to change 100% to this, green thing and all. So what we are doing is, if we are missing out something, okay, in our every product, 1% we are contributing to the environment protection. That is how. So that I'm telling non-sustainable products. And sustainable products, what we are calling, it is from the microalgae that we are making. So one of such product is vegan meat. And the thing is it is not easy for, developing and getting certifications and doing all the things and penetrate the market, because it is a new taste, right? So these all are the things, where we are facing as obstacles. But when our mission is clear and we haven't we haven't received any support from any government organization or anything. So, but what I am telling is, for the entrepreneurs who are listening this, it doesn't matter what is going around you, but you have a vision, you have a mission to accomplish. You know the problem, you know the gap, right? So at that moment when you are walking, you will go like a stone in water actually. So it's there will not be any hindrance, there will not be any obstacles in front of you when your mission and vision is clear. Some kind of magic will happen, things will go ahead. So like that we have went ahead, and so now we are about to launch our products, one of the sustainable product now. So it's how we can call it as a sustainable product, or as Naina was telling, there are lots of cliches like greenwashing, as in the case of whitewashing. Lots of things are there. So, but these all are depending on the ethics actually. Okay, individual ethics. It is not, individual ethics will create the community ethics, and it will create the societal ethics and everything. So, ma'am was talking about the schools and all these things. And so, what I found, it's my personal opinion, and it's not like I haven't shared with anyone so far. So, what I found, what is missing in our society, it is ethics. We know that it is not good that throwing waste in the road, throwing plastic, and it is not good. We know that, but we are doing it. It's because, we are habituated. Okay, let it be. We are not habituated for the best thing. So 1% better things can be, absorbed every day, and individually we can improve. So how we can improve? It is not only the awareness actually. It should be with the the questionnaire pattern. What I feel actually, it is like questionnaire pattern in the sense, it is like every individual. It is not like LKG student or UKG student or a first standard or 60-year-old guy or me or whatever. Everyone should participate in this. Like in the case of Aadhaar card, everyone should have undergone this kind of the kind of questionnaire, like the problem. So the problems we are giving for the children, right? Like, if you are going with a 10 rupee to the school, to the shop, and if you are spending 7 rupee, how much will be in your hand? Similar way, if you are taking, if you are forgetting to take take your, the cloth bag to the shop, and it is walkable distance only, will you come back and take, or you will, try to buy another one? So the real answer should be like, you will come back and take. If it is walkable distance, of course, you are not wasting any energy, right? So you are just, walking back and do such a kind of, that should be registered in your brain. So it is not a problem of anyone else. It's became like, habituated, like, easy life going. It's like a easy lifestyle, we can say. So this kind of, awareness should be given to this, to entire society, to entire people. And this is how we can improve, I hope. I don't think it's, including me, I'm not telling that we are 100%. We are just trying to improve. Like, we are removing the, if we are eliminating the part where we can, we are, taking more, we are using more energy, or we are most, we are, wherever we can eliminate such a kind of activities, like using more water, using more kind of natural resources, we can eliminate all those parts. Such a kind of activities can be absorbed. It's not easy for us to go 100% shift on a, on a fine day. Okay, so this is how it is anyway. So I know that I've taken time. Thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Jikku. I think you've also impressed upon the point again that it is a step-by-step process. It has to be how much ever we can, and looking at baby steps would actually add to very large change, even with the market trying to give us options and opportunities for sustainable alternatives. I think as a collective consciousness, when people start demanding for such products, there'll be a much larger market for it. And I hope the products that we currently often turn to, they are quite expensive or come at a markup from normal products. So that disincentivizes a lot of consumers. So one, the consciousness is required. And second, once the market opens up for a larger consumer demand, there can be economies of scale, like earlier mentioned by Aruna ma'am. So the production also has to be conscious about how we use less pollution, less waste, and optimizing all kinds of resources. So coming to Gayatri, I just want to ask, how do you feel that youth entrepreneurship is actually accelerating people's preferences today towards a sustainable lifestyle? The impact that youth entrepreneurship has, I mean, is it relatable examples? Is it them driving through behavioral change within communities? What do you think is key about youth entrepreneurship within this space?
So I would say that first of all, we have to realize the point that you were just making, that conscious consumerism has to be brought in and the kind of demand has to be created, the kind of market has to be created. But that goes with the same caveat that consumerism as a concept has to be discouraged. So first and foremost, youth as a role model, I would say that youth has to be the role model for as little as possible. So we don't have to, fancy the ideas of owning a big house or owning a car or going to holidays or and so on. To
Gayatri, I think
reduce the
you're
amount of things.
breaking up your network connection. Gayatri?
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yes. Am I audible now?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Yeah. I lost connection. I'm at a remote village right now, and practically speaking, this is a place. Yeah, this is a place in Rajasthan, a very remote corner, and there we are actually working towards creating demand for forest-based products. So we have an initiative under Gaia the Earth Foundation called Mission Prakriti, which is into regenerating forests. As I was saying, that we are taking beyond sustainability towards regeneration. So that is creating forests, which will be not only sequestering carbon and reducing the emissions.
Gayatri, I think we've lost connection. So, yeah, I just want to come back to stressing on the other point. A lot of these collective movements that initiate behavioral change, it is the easiest when you have a group of people initiating it, us motivating each other. Earlier, I had one of the panelists also mentioned that we should all be individual ambassadors and tell one more friend or two more friends and try to influence them to come to a more sustainable lifestyle. And it has to be also pragmatic to an extent, whatever little we can do and ask questions about in terms of, is this the right way, or is there a easier alternative? The very small steps can make the biggest difference.
Sorry, am I audible again?
Gayatri, I think we lost connection.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Am I audible now?
Yes, yes. Would you like to finish your earlier statement?
I was just talking about the kind of temperature drop that we experience when we move towards a forest like this. Right. I was telling you that I'm in a remote village right now where we are implementing a project, Mission Prakriti, which is meant to create a lot of positive impact socially as well as ecologically. Now, coming back to the consumption pattern that I was talking about for the youth, which will be driving a new trend. So I think young people are in a position to create a lot of new trends, which is a very important thing. They have a certain idea of, being trendy or having things in vogue. So, as Naina was talking about, sustainable fashion is often misunderstood by people as buying sustainable clothes and going for more green products. People will actually go and fancy a lot of green stationery items and put up on their desk and say that, yeah, I have taken a sustainable lifestyle. But the actual fact of the matter is this, that you have to reduce the consumption. Maybe by, say, if I am, say, 25, by this age of mine, have I already accumulated a lot of stuff? Then let's just use it away in the dustbin in the name of being sustainable and buy new green stationery. So that will to the youth. First of all, change the trend, change the way we consume, and most importantly, something is very elite. It is not considered it otherwise. Like, not having a car, is that something considered elite? If yes, that is the new trend that you can establish, rather than saying that I'm having a Porsche or XYZ car, right? So the definition of what the wealth and prosperity means, that can be redefined.
I'm sorry, I think we've lost Gayatri once again due to some technical issues. And as she mentioned, she's in a remote village in Rajasthan, and I'm happy that We got her to join despite the limitations in network connectivity. So, to summarize, we're looking at a huge world population that is going to probably reach a whooping 10 billion people by 2025. And with more people comes more demand for everything ranging from food to fashion, travel to housing, and related aspirations for a better lifestyle.
Sorry.
So in this world stretched thin for resources, how under the threat of global biodiversity loss also and climate change, our decisions are every small decision is putting the planet at risk. And for this, we need targeted action. And like Gayatri also just mentioned, youth are one of the biggest harbingers through which we can bring about this change, and also drive through these targeted actions within communities, within local areas. And sustainable living means understanding how lifestyle choices impact the world, and not just us or my family, not just the neighbor, but the entire community and the world at large. Like one of our panelists mentioned, the rate at which ocean level rise and loss of land, especially coastal and island nations, that it faces, it's alarming. And still, there are so many countries, we continue to pollute, we continue to not care about the environment and move to sustainable production practices. So it has to be from both sides, both supply and demand. And I think communities have a large role to play. And here, coming from our experience, also working with cooperatives and collectives, the best part about it is the community comes first. Ultimately, it is about a sustainability of the larger community before profits. So instead of chasing profits, we also need instances or movements. In the state where I hail from, in Kerala, in my own state, there have been the People's Planning Movement that had brought in significant change in terms of decentralized waste collection. And now there have been several other experiments, even for energy plants, which is also on the contrary, how centralization can be tried out. But decentralized waste collection has been successful to a large extent. And as seen in the past few decades, even collectives like Kudumbashree, self-help groups, collectives, cooperatives that are working on the ground level have a large impact to play in this. Apart from this, climate entrepreneurs, as we also mentioned earlier, they can play a big role as a catalyst to combat climate change and ultimately achieve the 2030 agenda goals. A recent report looked at the most common sectors for climate and environmental entrepreneurs. Renewable energy is one. The entire circular economy and waste management is another thing. Sustainable agriculture and aquaculture. That is also, we keep talking about sustainable alternatives, but we don't really know which end of the supply chain it is coming from, how much of validation that can be there. So more people coming and venturing back into farming and the primary sector as a viable employment or an entrepreneurial opportunity. So that also has to be seen. So looking at farming as a sustainable livelihood, not just as a sustainable environmental activity. So both ways. And also the sustainable forest management practices. I think one of the panelists also mentioned about regenerating forests. I mean, with the Prakriti project, which Gayatri just mentioned right now. So I think all of these things at a local small level, we can also try to attempt. And in the larger context, with the reflections that we had from the panelists as well, I think a lot of collaboration and partnership are crucial. And this is where the importance of the Youth Collab program that the Niti Aayog through the Atal Innovation Mission, the UNDP and the City Foundation are organizing, it has a large relevance. So I just want to mention that the investors also having an interest in investing in social impact focused enterprises, often they cannot find the right organizations that match their criteria. So wide lack of funding is one of the major barriers. Collaborations are very much key to support an integrated change. And I think we need networks of social entrepreneurs, we need networks of collectives that work with sustainable practices, and we need to sustainably push over time how these practices can be included in our daily lives through these communities. So it is very important we include youth, we include women, we include existing collectives and communities. And there's a need for consortiums ultimately, and these platforms to help connect entrepreneurs. And that's how the creation of a market comes place. And using this collaborative approach, I just want to say it's not just financially, but also in program implementation, infusing sustainability and entrepreneurship at every level alongside de-risking transactions. It is very important to influence policymakers in this respect. Every project, every policy that we come across in a local area. Another thing, I think, reflection from what Aruna ma'am mentioned. See, a lot of these things we can do in our locality, not depend on our local governments. There is so much that local governments can do. There is something that probably we should also change in our day-to-day habits, because it might take time for activities to trickle down from the administrative side. But it is all a struggle, and it's a collective struggle. We need to understand that. And thank you to all the panelists. I think we can open the floor for a couple of questions from the audience if we have any. I'd request Niharika or Fasil to just let us know in case you'd like us to take any specific questions from the audience. Feel free to put it in the chat box and also address who you would like to ask the question to. So one question that is come up is, can you explain the importance of forest regeneration? So, and the other one is, how is it being done, and how communities can play a part in regeneration of forests? I think one of the new trends in urban areas that people are looking at is the Miyawaki forest. In a very small patch of land, you're creating a small, thick, lush forest. And that's something that even, in this home state of Kerala, where I am right now, they've been trying to promote. In small urban 3 cents and 4 cents of land, it has been extremely effective. So would Madam Aruna like to answer this question?
Yeah, I'm very happy to answer this question, Ganesh. I'm waiting actually. So, yes, we can do, irrespective of how much land, soil available within urban areas, wherever. So, definitely, where there is a will, there is a way. So, I believe in that. And yeah, I have these many waste bottles, flasks and water bottles and whatever. Within our community there is a tennis court. They are discarding the tennis ball containers and all. I go and get them and plant them, and whoever visits us, we give them, or otherwise we encourage children to what you call upcycle whatever waste they have, containers they have at home, and all these we are teaching. Wherever they go outside, if they find any seed plants, if there are seeds, forest or a park, if they visit, then collect those seeds with the permission of the authorities. Ensure you are not violating the what you call rules and regulations, but take their permission and collect those seeds and bring back to your home and start seedling them and enjoy the growth of those plants. And I have small bit of plot soil available, and here I have almost 250 plus plants. Apart from that, I have been distributing plants wherever I go and collect all the seed, and at our home whatever seed is coming, seedlings are available, I'll just what you call repot them and then give it away within the community, nearby schools and other parts of Vishakhapatnam. I live in Vishakhapatnam coastal area. So wherever I go, especially we distribute those. For example, papayas, and we have plenty of moringa drumsticks. So we go to a hostel, government hostels here. We have distributed those plant, lot many plants we took. And apart from that, when we were involved in the medical camp, we visited a local community in Vishakhapatnam. There we went along with all the moringa plants and requested the community to grow them and eat the food, each part of moringa, so that they get nutrition and all. So at my home, we have these beds, and then different kinds of beds, steel, plastic, and whatever available. I'll just ensure all the seeds, whatever we have collected, put them in that, and once the plants are grown, repot them, and then give it to wherever possible. If they are really interested in protecting those plants, we distribute them. And if I have plenty of I have clothes, but I don't want to discard them, I upcycle those clothes into different kinds of garments and wear. Otherwise I will give away to the trash collectors, family members, saris, or whatever are there with me, I'll just give them. And apart from that, I make my own compost at home. I don't throw away all the what you call biodegradable matter, organic matter. I just keep it. I have one full drum of that, and all the biodegradable waste is at especially garden waste, flowers and leaves of all the whatever plants. I'll just collect and keep them, and I'll just compost them and encourage children to do composting at their place. I have my own EM solutions. I prepare EM solutions and apply at home, washing the toilets and washing the what you call cleaning, washing wash basins and other stuff, floors and all. So I prepare them. I have been doing research for the past 5 to 7 years now, and I am also mentoring students on waste management, and then we organize what you call internship programs at School Radio Vishakhapatnam, and online offline programs. We take them to the nearby waste management facilities, different kinds of forests, how they are planting, wherever there are lots of coastal lane. So we take them and show them how tourists are coming and spoiling the place, and then without, not only tourists, ourselves, people living in the vicinity also throwing their waste. So we went there, collected along with the other NGOs who are there in Vishakhapatnam. So we encourage children to be part of that program, and we have collected all the liquor bottles and brought them, and we again what you call experimented aquatic what you call it agriculture, aqua agriculture, or I have forgotten that name. So we have experimented that, and then we have different plants rooted in those bottles. Right. And again we have given away as gifts. So we can do many things, small things, however small it is. We can create a big impact if each household, each individual is doing this kind of action, or whatever you call it. So definitely we are going to live in a healthy and harmony in nature. We are going to live in harmony with nature. Yeah. So
thank you so much, ma'am. So I think we're coming to the end of our discussion, and the last bit, I'd like to just quickly open up for a question with any of the panelists. Any closing remarks if you would like to add? Dr. Jiku, Diana?
Yes, for the entrepreneurs who are looking for developing products which are eco-friendly and doing something for the environment. for the entrepreneurs, I must tell them like the shift is, as I mentioned already, if you have a vision like for doing something eco-friendly, I'm not talking about the other thing which involves innovations. It always takes time. Actually, it is time consuming, labor consuming, and financially you will be tired, and investor fatigue. If you have an investor, there will be problem. Investor fatigue will happen, but do not worry, do not quit. Along with that, develop another strategy for maintaining your the entity. So by the time it develops and penetrate the market, you can be stable for that time. So have some second strategy also to maintain your entity or organization, and work on your dream project, which is because lots of good products are coming, that is, which are eco-friendly. So many are there. So if you are seeing that the best 21 projects of last 2022 2021 last year, so one of them is like, we can see that Scarbion company, they developed enzyme which can degrade plastic within 10 hours.
Right.
Okay, so that kind of innovations are happening. That took lots of they were working on that. The enzyme efficiency was 70% earlier, and then 90%, and now it is 100%. So it is, they attained that. So these all are the things. It is that kind of innovative ideas if you're working on. So it may take time, but be patient, and you don't have to worry. Like a stone in water, you have to go towards your, the goal, and you will do it. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jiku. I think those are very pertinent points mentioned, especially from an entrepreneurial perspective, and how an entrepreneur or a young green climate leader or an entrepreneur should look at the space. And it should not be in the short run, but in the terms of long run impact. Even if initially this single source of revenues might not sustain your overall impactful work that you're trying to reach out through the community and awareness, try to sustain yourself with alternatives. And I think that's a good advice for our entrepreneurs here. And the space is also quickly moving, even though there are rapid changes in science and technology, including in your field, biotechnology. It takes time to trickle down. So until then, one step at a time, behavioral changes are the key to go. Gayatri, would you like to add anything? I think we can see if your voice.
Yes, I think you all can see my background here. So I'm in a remote village in Rajasthan right now. And since we are talking about behavioral changes and the youth, I'd like to mention something very beautiful in this village. So this village was once upon a time famous for female feticide. And there was a lot of inequity between the male and the female child. And this place was famous for marble mining. So there was a lot of environmental degradation as well as the social degradation at the same time. But then there was a village head that took over. A girl child that is born, we will be planting 111 trees as a village community. And you know how these communities are. These are like very underprivileged and tribal communities who do not have enough access to education or health care or anything, actually, information, or the way we are aware citizens, they are not. So, but then they just stuck to the simple practice of planting 111 trees each time a girl child was born. These 111 trees were treated as the brothers. So I'm sure many of you know about Raksha Bandhan. That is a custom in North India, which is between the brother and the sister. So these girls used to consider these trees as their brothers, and they will be tying Rakhi on these trees on every Raksha Bandhan. And that is how, by the time the girl turns 18, these trees also turn 18, and they are an asset for the village, as well as a huge, source of income and livelihood for the village community as well. So this is the beautiful story here with a very simple practice. And since I was talking to the Sarpanch this morning, he was telling me how it was so difficult to change the practice of open defecation in this place. He said they had to literally put, camera behind, not really paying attention. First, they provided all the toilets, And even then, if there were defaulters, they actually put camera people to follow those people all the way to the forest. Just stating these two examples as very beautiful ones, where we can see how each community things have changed so nicely.
Thank you so much, Gayatri. I think this is creates a exciting element to our discussion today. Live reporting from a
Yes.
deep, village heart in the heartland of Rajasthan, and the practices that you're seeing live in action right there in between your work. And I think one more point that Aruna ma'am had to mention, in the community that she's working with, we have rainwater harvesting, solar panels, fruit bearing trees, and community farming, and community kitchen and collection of waste management. So yes, good thing that you've raised this point, ma'am, because the power of collectives, again, coming back to addressing these localized issues and creating a huge impact through that is very much primary and to be focused on. Linking this with youth again, I'd like to quickly mention an example from the organization I work with, the International Cooperative Alliance. There was a project called as Replication Project, where a group of individuals that were running a cooperative for leprosy in Indonesia, they were funded for a pilot project, and they set up waste banks in each of the local areas. And when people give segregated waste back to them, there is a savings book or a account that they have, and the money gets accrued to that eventually. And over a course of time, it also encourages savings in the community and also systematic waste segregation and disposal. So just a quick example that I'd come across recently. But here, all of these places, the power of collaboration between individuals and institutions have been highlighted and are key. And here I would like to close by mentioning the relevance of this program that we have called the Climate Entrepreneurship Hub. To build a more robust entrepreneurship ecosystem, the UNDP and the Atal Innovation Mission are joining hands to develop a multi-stakeholder alliance called the Climate Entrepreneurship Hub. And that is going to be creating an enabling environment for all kinds of climate entrepreneurs. So both these organizations, UNDP and AIM, are stakeholders in the climate entrepreneurship space, and is trying to co-create the alliance with them. So the multiple stakeholders in the space are looking at climate action and entrepreneurship through the hub. And it is, again, the importance of collaboration, and the alliance will be based on capacity training, networking, incubation, visibility, grants, and investment, among all kinds of other possible support that can be given to these climate entrepreneurs. So the interested organizations working in this space can reach out to the UNDP team for more information. So the email ID is youthteamindia@undp.onmicrosoft.com. You can also follow this discussion on the YouTube channel, which is going live right now. So thank you so much to all the panelists, Naina, Dr. Jiku, Madam Aruna, and Gayatri, coming in even from such a remote location. You have all given us a great lot of practical experience and examples, which you have shown and led the way. So let this be an inspirational example or a way of living that youngsters today and the community at large also adopts. So I think, multiple drops make an ocean, and with conceited effort, we can definitely bring about this change in the timing that we're facing today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ganesh.
Thank you,
for moderating
Ganesh.
the session and your inputs as well.
Gayatri, congratulations for the amazing work you are doing at the grassroots level. And then I enjoyed listening to you narrating this story. So all the panelists, Jiku and Naina, thank you very much. And UNDP team to Niharika and Marian. Also, Fasil from Kerala Startup Mission too. Thank you. Yeah. Carbon collecting.
Thank you. This climate entrepreneurship. If we have a working the grassroots villages and